Most people spend their lives searching for love, but the truth is, they are searching in the wrong place. Love isn't something you find by accident. It's something you create by design. If you keep repeating the same painful relationship cycles, it's not fate. It's your patterns calling to be broken. If you want to know what it takes to find and keep love, the very first truth you must awaken to is this: love begins within. It does not start when someone walks into your life. It does not start when another person validates your worth or fulfills your need for attention. Love, in its purest and most powerful form, begins in the invisible realm of your inner world. Before you can ever experience the depth of love in another, you must first discover, generate, and expand the frequency of love within yourself. Most people are conditioned to believe that love is something external, something you stumble upon, something you are lucky enough to find in another. But in reality, the energy of love is already present in you. It is not missing, and it does not belong to anyone else. It resides in the field of your own consciousness, waiting to be awakened. The challenge is that for so long we have been taught to look outward, chasing after someone to complete us, someone to heal us, someone to make us feel alive, and yet, the greatest paradox is that the more you chase love outside of yourself, the further away it moves, because the energy you are projecting is one of lack. You cannot attract from a state of emptiness what can only ever flow from wholeness. To find love, you must first become familiar with the emotional state of love within. This is not about imagination in a shallow sense. It is about training your body to feel now what it longs to feel later. If you can begin to close your eyes, to quiet the noise of your mind, and tune into the deep space of your heart, you will discover that love is not a concept, it is a frequency. It is an energy that your body can learn to recognize, just like it recognizes stress, fear, or anger. When you choose to generate the feeling of love without needing a condition in the outer world to trigger it, you are reclaiming your creative power. You are teaching your body that love is not dependent on a person, on a circumstance, or on a fleeting moment. Love is who you are when you align with your highest state of being. Think about the patterns you have lived with in the past. How many times have you sought love from someone else while carrying unresolved pain of rejection, abandonment, or unworthiness? When you enter a relationship from a place of needing someone to fix what feels broken inside of you, you are not truly offering love. You are offering dependency, and dependency is not love. It is a bargain, a transaction, an unspoken demand that says, "Give me what I cannot give myself." This is why so many relationships collapse. People do not fall out of love. They fall out of the illusion that someone else was supposed to complete them. Love begins within when you stop outsourcing your worth and start cultivating it as a daily practice. This means waking up in the morning and deciding to connect with your heart before you connect with your phone, your emails, or the opinions of the world. It means sitting in stillness and breathing into the space of your chest until you can feel the soft warmth of gratitude, compassion, and openness expand in you. As you practice this consistently, your nervous system learns a new baseline, your brain begins to fire different patterns, and your body becomes familiar with the state of love even when no one outside of you is giving it. In that moment, you are no longer waiting for someone to come along and awaken love in you. You are awakening it yourself, and this inner shift is powerful because the universe responds to frequency. Just as a tuning fork vibrates in resonance with another, your energy field resonates with what you embody. When you radiate love from within, when your heart is open and you are overflowing with the emotion of wholeness, you become magnetic. You no longer have to chase love. It finds you because you have become a match to it. But love within yourself is not only about attracting another person, it is also about sustaining your own sense of fulfillment. When you practice self-generated love, you are no longer at the mercy of external validation. You stop swinging between emotional highs and lows based on whether someone notices you, texts you back, or fulfills your expectations. Instead, you live from a stable inner foundation, and any love that enters your life simply amplifies what is already there. That is the key to both finding and keeping love. You must already know the state of love within, so that you do not rely on someone else to keep you alive emotionally. Love begins within also means learning to forgive yourself for the times you have abandoned yourself in search of others. It means acknowledging the patterns where you have sacrificed your truth, your joy, and your self-respect just to hold onto a connection. Those patterns are not love. They are fear disguised as attachment. True love will never require you to betray yourself. So, if you wish to find and keep love, the journey must start with becoming your own source, your own wellspring, your own endless reservoir of compassion and care. When you generate love within, you are also healing the imprints of the past. Every time you choose to embody love instead of replaying the old wounds of rejection or abandonment, you are teaching your subconscious mind that the past does not define your capacity to love now. The energy of love is timeless. It exists here in this moment, and it does not depend on what happened before. By returning to it daily, you are creating new emotional pathways, wiring your brain and body to become familiar with joy, connection, and openness instead of pain, fear, or lack. And from that state, when someone comes into your life, they are not filling a void. They are joining you in your fullness. They are not completing you, they are complementing you. This is how love not only begins but endures. Because when both people are rooted in their own wholeness, the relationship becomes an overflow of two complete beings, not a desperate attempt of two half beings trying to become whole through each other. If you truly want to find and keep love, you must first come face to face with the invisible patterns that have been guiding your choices, often without your awareness. These patterns live deep in the subconscious mind. They are the result of past experiences, childhood conditioning, and emotional wounds that have left an imprint on your nervous system. Until you recognize them, they will quietly dictate how you show up in relationships, how you respond to intimacy, and even the type of partners you are drawn to. Most people believe their difficulties in love are about bad luck or the behavior of others, but in truth, relationships often mirror back to us the very patterns we carry within. If you grew up with rejection, you may find yourself chasing unavailable partners. If you grew up with criticism, you may feel unworthy of being fully accepted. If you experience abandonment, you may cling too tightly or fear being left again. These patterns are not conscious choices. They are automatic programs that run beneath the surface, pulling you back into the same cycles over and over again. The first step in breaking old patterns is awareness. You must pause and look honestly at your history. What themes repeat themselves in your relationships? Do you find yourself attracting the same type of person in a different body? Do conflicts circle around the same core issues, no matter who you are with? This repetition is not random. It is the subconscious mind seeking familiarity. The body is addicted to what it knows, even if what it knows causes pain. Pain, rejection, and drama can become so familiar that they feel safer than peace and love, because the nervous system is more comfortable with what it has rehearsed than with what is new. Once you identify these patterns, the work is to disrupt them. You must interrupt the old emotional signatures that your body has memorized. Every time you replay rejection in your mind, every time you anticipate abandonment, every time you assume you are not enough, you are firing the same neural circuit and conditioning your body to stay in the past. To break the cycle, you have to teach your brain and body to live in a different emotional reality. This is where the power of intention and practice comes in. Instead of rehearsing pain, you begin to rehearse love. Instead of expecting betrayal, you start expecting connection. Instead of identifying as someone unworthy, you begin to embody worthiness as a natural state. This is not about positive thinking on the surface. It is about changing your inner chemistry. When you notice yourself falling into an old reaction, jealousy, fear, withdrawal, or self-sabotage, you stop, breathe, and make a new choice. That new choice may feel uncomfortable. even unnatural, because the old pattern is so deeply ingrained. But every time you choose differently, you are weakening the old circuit and strengthening a new one. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, is your ally here. The more you rehearse the emotional state of trust, safety, and openness, the more your nervous system will accept it as your new baseline. Breaking old patterns also requires healing the unprocessed emotions that keep those patterns alive. Many people carry unresolved grief, anger, or shame that was never expressed, and those emotions keep them trapped in repetitive cycles. When you take the time to feel, to release, and to integrate those emotions, you free yourself from the compulsion to repeat them. This is why inner work is so essential. Meditation, reflection, journaling, therapy, these are not just self-help practices, they are tools to break the invisible bonds of the past so you can step into a new future. Another important element in breaking patterns is the awareness of emotional addiction. The body becomes addicted to chemicals of stress, drama, and chaos, and without realizing it, you may unconsciously create situations that allow you to feel those familiar emotions again. This is why a peaceful, stable love may feel boring at first if your body is addicted to the roller coaster of highs and lows. To break free, you must detox from those old emotional habits and learn to regulate your nervous system to find fulfillment in stability, calm, and consistent love. Relationships are powerful mirrors in this process. The people you attract will often reveal the exact places where you still hold unresolved wounds. Instead of seeing conflict or challenge as failure, see it as feedback. When an old pattern is triggered, it is not a sign that you are broken, but an invitation to heal. The moment you become conscious of what is being activated in you, you gain the power to choose a new response. You no longer have to collapse into the old role of the victim, the abandoned one, or the unworthy one. You can step into a new identity, one rooted in self, awareness, and growth. Breaking patterns also means letting go of the stories you have been telling yourself. Stories like "love always leaves me," "I am too difficult to love," or "all relationships end in pain" are not truths. They are programs, and programs can be rewritten. When you change the story you live by, you change the experience you create. Every day you have the opportunity to step out of the identity that was shaped by the past and step into the identity of someone who is worthy of love, capable of intimacy, and deserving of joy. It is important to remember that this process is not instant. The patterns you are unraveling may have been rehearsed for decades. But with each moment of awareness, with each conscious choice to respond differently, with each time you return to the state of love instead of the state of fear, you are breaking the chains that once bound you. You are teaching your body that the past is over and that a new future is possible. Love is often spoken of as a feeling, a romance, or a bond between two people, but at its essence, love is energy. It is not limited to human connection. It is not confined to a fleeting emotion triggered by a person or a moment. Love is a frequency, a state of being that can be generated, amplified, and sustained from within. To understand love at this deeper level is to realize that you are not simply seeking a relationship. You are seeking alignment with the energy that makes relationships thrive. Everything in the universe is vibration. Every thought, every emotion, every belief carries a measurable frequency. Fear has a frequency, anger has a frequency, shame has a frequency, and love in its purest form vibrates at one of the highest frequencies known to human experience. When you are in a state of love, your heart rhythm becomes coherent, your brain synchronizes, your body shifts from stress chemistry to healing chemistry, and your entire being radiates harmony. You are not just feeling an emotion, you are resonating with an energy that transcends the personal and touches the universal. Most people attempt to experience love only when an external condition appears. They wait for someone to walk into their life and give them permission to feel it, but in doing so, they make love conditional, fragile, and temporary. The true power lies in learning to tune into the frequency of love without needing anything outside of you to activate it. Just as a musician can strike a note and resonate with the right frequency, you can train your mind and body to resonate with love at will. This is not imagination, it is physiology, it is neuroscience, it is energy in motion. When you sit quietly and bring your awareness to your heart, you begin to open the doorway to this frequency. The heart is not just a biological pump, it is an electromagnetic center that influences your entire state of being. Studies have shown that the heart generates an electromagnetic field far greater than the brain, and that this field extends beyond the body. When you generate love from within, you are literally broadcasting that frequency into the field around you. The more coherent and consistent your inner state becomes, the more powerfully you radiate that energy outward. Now imagine what happens when you live in this frequency daily. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances, no longer waiting for love to come from someone else. You are rooted in the energy of love itself, and that makes you magnetic. People feel it without you saying a word. They are drawn not just to what you do, but to the vibration you embody. This is why love is not something you chase. It is something you attract when you align your own energy with it. But the energy of love is not only about attraction. It is also about healing. When you embody love, your body shifts out of survival mode. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline decrease, while chemicals like oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine increase. Your immune system strengthens, your heart rate stabilizes, and your mind becomes clearer. Love is not only a state of joy, it is a medicine, a transformative energy that restores balance and harmony. And when you bring this energy into your relationships, you create a field of safety and trust where intimacy can flourish. This is why sustaining love requires you to remain conscious of your energy. If you fall back into old emotions of fear, resentment, or insecurity, you lower your frequency and your connection suffers. But when you intentionally return to the state of love through breath, through gratitude, through awareness, you restore coherence not only within yourself, but within the relationship. Love is not a static event. It is a frequency you must keep tuning into. Think of it like tuning a radio. If you want to hear a specific station, you must adjust the dial to the right frequency. If your inner state is tuned to fear or lack, you cannot receive the broadcast of love, even if it is available all around you. But the moment you tune into love within yourself, you align with that frequency, and the experiences, people, and opportunities that resonate with it begin to flow into your life. This is not magic, it is resonance, the natural law that like attracts like. When you approach love as energy, you also stop confusing it with attachment, control, or dependency. Those lower frequencies often masquerade as love, but are rooted in fear. True love does not bind or possess. True love is expansive, liberating, and abundant. It does not come from need, it comes from overflow, and overflow is only possible when you have first filled yourself with the energy of love independent of another person. To find and keep love, you must become a steward of this energy. This means cultivating practices that open your heart, clear your mind, and raise your vibration. Gratitude is one of the most powerful gateways to love, because when you truly feel grateful, you cannot simultaneously feel fear or lack. Compassion is another, as it dissolves separation and awakens the recognition of shared humanity. Presence is essential too, because love cannot exist in the past or future. It is always accessed now. Each of these practices helps you return again and again to the frequency of love until it becomes your natural home. The energy of love is not something fragile that can be lost when a person leaves or when circumstances change. It is the essence of who you are when you strip away the layers of fear, conditioning, and doubt. To live in this energy is to recognize that you are not waiting for love. You are love, expressed through the uniqueness of your own being. When you embody that truth, you stop searching for someone to complete you and instead share your completeness with another. And that sharing is what allows love not only to be found, but to be kept. One of the greatest illusions in the pursuit of love is the belief that you must search for it, as though it exists somewhere outside of you, hidden in another person, waiting to be discovered. This mindset keeps many people trapped in cycles of longing, disappointment, and restlessness, always looking outward and never realizing that love is not found through searching. It is created through being. Understand this shift is to awaken to the truth that love is not something you chase. It is something you generate, cultivate, and embody until it overflows into your reality. Searching for love often comes from a place of lack. It is rooted in the thought, I don't have love yet, so I must go find it. That very thought broadcasts an energy of scarcity. When you operate from scarcity, you unconsciously send out a signal that says, I am incomplete. The world responds to that signal by giving you experiences that mirror incompleteness, relationships that fail, connections that feel shallow, or attractions to people who cannot meet you in depth. Searching keeps you in the vibration of waiting, of seeking, of never having. But creating is entirely different. Creating comes from fullness, from alignment, from the recognition that you already have within you the very energy you desire to experience with another. Creating love begins with self-embodiment. Instead of asking, where can I find love? You begin asking, how can I live as love today? You shift your focus from scanning the external world for a partner to cultivating within yourself the qualities that love requires. If you want a relationship rooted in kindness, you practice kindness daily. If you long for passion, you awaken passion within your own life, through your work, your creativity, your body. If you desire deep connection, you start by connecting deeply with yourself, listening to your own needs, honoring your own truth, and becoming intimate with your own inner world. By doing this, you stop chasing love and instead create the environment where love naturally arrives. This creation process is not passive, it is intentional. It requires awareness of the energy you bring into every interaction. For example, when you meet someone new, are you radiating openness, or are you carrying fear of rejection? Are you showing up with authenticity, or are you hiding behind masks to gain approval? The energy you bring is what shapes the connection. When you choose to embody love, compassion, and wholeness, you are no longer performing or trying to earn love. You are creating it in real time through your presence. Creating instead of searching also means releasing the illusion that someone else will complete you. That idea is deeply embedded in our culture, but it is a myth that leads to disappointment. No one can fill the emptiness you refuse to address within yourself. No one can resolve the wounds you avoid healing. When you believe someone else holds the missing piece of your puzzle, you enter relationships with an energy of dependency, placing pressure on the other person to be your source of happiness. But when you choose to create love within yourself first, you enter relationships from a place of overflow. You are not asking someone to give you love, you are offering love you already have. That is what makes relationships thrive. Not two incomplete beings searching for completion, but two complete beings creating together. This act of creating love is a spiritual practice as much as it is a psychological one. It requires you to become aware of the stories you tell yourself about love. If you believe love is rare, difficult, or destined to end in heartbreak, your search will reflect those beliefs. But if you consciously choose to create a new story, one in which love is abundant, possible, and sustainable, you align with that narrative and begin living it into existence. Creation is not waiting for evidence to appear before you believe. It is believing so deeply that your belief generates the evidence. When you live in creation mode, you shift your identity. You stop identifying as someone who is searching, hoping, or waiting, and you begin identifying as someone who is already love in motion. That identity shift is powerful because your behaviors, choices, and interactions flow from who you believe you are. If you see yourself as whole, you will act in ways that reinforce wholeness. If you see yourself as abundant, you will give without fear of losing. If you see yourself as love, you will draw to yourself experiences and people that match that frequency. The practice of creating love also teaches you presence. Searching keeps you in the future, always waiting for someday, when the right person will appear, but creating brings you into now. You realize that love is not something that will happen later. It is something you can express here, in this moment, in the way you treat yourself, in the way you speak to others, in the energy you radiate into the world. Every moment becomes an opportunity to create love, whether or not a romantic partner is present. And paradoxically, when you live this way, love often appears without effort, because you have already become the vibration of what you desire. Creating instead of searching also frees you from desperation. Desperation repels love, while authenticity attracts it. When you stop searching frantically, you release the tension in your energy field, and you allow love to flow more naturally into your life. This doesn't mean you avoid connection or isolate yourself. It means you approach relationships from a place of joy rather than need. You are no longer grasping, no longer begging life to give you something you already carry within. You are simply sharing what you are creating, and that sharing becomes irresistible. The deeper you practice creation, the more you realize that love is not a destination but a state of consciousness. You stop thinking of love as something to acquire and start experiencing it as something you continually generate. Every smile, every act of compassion, every moment of gratitude is an act of creation. And when you embody this state consistently, the search ends, because you finally understand that what you were searching for has been in you all along, waiting to be created and expressed. Finding love is often seen as the ultimate goal, but the truth is that discovering love is only the beginning. The deeper question, the one that determines whether love endures, is how to sustain it. Many people enter relationships with excitement, passion, and hope. But over time they slip back into old unconscious habits, and the energy of love begins to fade. To sustain love requires presence, awareness, and a commitment to nurturing the frequency that brought two people together in the first place. It is not enough to find love. You must learn to remain conscious enough to keep it alive. Love in its essence is energy. When two people come together in love, they create a field of resonance between them. In the early stages, this resonance feels effortless because it is new, it is charged with curiosity, and it awakens chemicals in the brain and body that create the sensation of falling in love. But sustaining love goes beyond that initial chemical rush. To keep love, you must cultivate it intentionally, turning it into a daily practice rather than relying on fleeting moments of passion. Just as a garden will wither if neglected, love will fade if it is not consistently nurtured. One of the greatest challenges in sustaining love is the tendency to become unconscious in relationships. Over time, people stop being fully present. They fall into routines, take one another for granted, and unconsciously let old patterns resurface. Stress, fear, or unresolved wounds can take center stage, and instead of radiating the energy of love, the relationship becomes clouded by resentment, disconnection, or indifference. Sustaining love required vigilance. It asks you to remain aware of your own energy and the energy you are co-creating with your partner. To sustain love, you must continually return to presence. Love lives in the now. It is not kept alive by clinging to memories of the past or by projecting fears of the future. It thrives in the moments when you are fully aware, when you are listening deeply, when you are appreciating what is before you. Presence is the foundation of intimacy. Without it, even the most passionate relationships will lose their depth. But with presence, even simple moments, sharing a meal, holding hands, speaking softly, become infused with meaning and connection. Gratitude is another key to sustaining love. When you choose to see and acknowledge the gifts your partner brings, you strengthen the energy of appreciation. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present, from lack to abundance. Over time, relationships falter when people focus only on what they are not getting, what their partner is not doing, or how the other person falls short of their expectations. But when you consciously cultivate gratitude, you expand the energy of love between you. Gratitude is a form of creation. It builds instead of depletes, it lifts instead of weighs down, and it reinforces the very qualities you value most in your connection. Sustaining love also requires self-awareness. You cannot sustain love with another if you are disconnected from yourself. When you abandon your own needs, silence your own truth, or neglect your own growth, you eventually project that inner lack onto your partner. Many conflicts in relationships are not truly about the other person, but about the unhealed parts of yourself that you expect your partner to resolve. Sustaining love means taking responsibility for your inner state, practicing self-love, and bringing wholeness to the relationship instead of dependency. Another essential element is emotional regulation. Love cannot thrive in an environment where anger, fear, or insecurity constantly dominate. Sustaining love requires learning how to pause when triggered, how to breathe through conflict, and how to respond consciously rather than react unconsciously. When both people are committed to regulating their emotions and returning to the frequency of love, challenges become opportunities for growth rather than threats. To the relationship, love is not the absence of conflict. It is the ability to move through conflict without losing connection. Consistency is also vital. Love cannot be sustained through occasional gestures alone. It grows through daily choices, through small acts of kindness, words of affirmation, physical touch, and the willingness to show up again and again with presence and intention. Many people assume that once they have love, it will take care of itself, but sustaining love is active, not passive. It requires a conscious decision every day to nurture the connection, to invest in it, and to keep aligning with the frequency of love even when life becomes busy or stressful. To sustain love, both partners must also honor growth. Love is dynamic, not static. You are not the same person you were yesterday, and neither is your partner. When relationships fail, it is often because one or both people resist change, expecting the other to remain the same. But sustaining love requires embracing growth, supporting each other's evolution, and allowing the relationship itself to transform as both individuals expand. True love does not fear change. It thrives in it because it is rooted not in control but in freedom. Finally, sustaining love means remembering that love is a practice, not a possession. You do not own another person's heart, and they do not own yours. What you share is a co-creation, a living energy that must be tended to with care. Each day you have the choice to bring openness, kindness, and presence into that shared field. Each day you have the chance to renew your commitment to sustaining the energy that brought you together. Love, when sustained with awareness, does not weaken with time. It deepens, becoming richer, stronger, and more expansive with every conscious choice you make. If you want to know what it takes to find and keep love, the path is not about chasing, clinging, or waiting for someone else to fill what feels empty within you. It is about awakening to the truth that love is first an inner state before it is ever an outer experience. Love begins within, in the way you nurture your own heart, in the way you break free from the patterns that have kept you repeating the past, in the way you choose to resonate with the energy of love instead of the energy of fear. It is created, not searched for, and it is sustained by presence, gratitude, and conscious choice. Love is not something fragile that slips away if conditions change. It is a frequency that you can generate, embody, and share moment by moment with awareness and intention. When you stop seeking someone to complete you and instead become whole within yourself, you create the space for authentic connection. And when two complete beings come together, love not only finds its way into your life, it stays, it grows, and it transforms everything it touches.